Alright, we've got spoilers for Crimson Vow coming in thick and fast now. It looks like it's going to be another cool set. Carrying on with that Innistrad flavour. This time going a little bit darker with the vampire wedding theme rather than the kind of slightly more jovial celebration of the humans and stuff like that we had in Midnight Hunt. But we've got a lot of things going on, one of which is this new mechanic called Cleave. Now, I do have some thoughts on the Cleave mechanic as a whole. I think it's an interesting mechanic, and I think it's potentially slightly complex, although really when we break it down, we can see how simple it is. So I'll come to my thoughts on the mechanic overall a little bit later on, but for now, let's look at what it is. And I've got an example card here, Path of Peril. It's 1 black for a sorcery, and if we ignore the Cleave text for now, it says destroy all creatures, and then in square brackets with mana value 2 or less, not power, it's mana value. So this is a pretty standard kind of removal spell that we've seen before, maybe a little bit weaker. Usually for 3 mana you'd be destroying creatures with CMC 3 or less, but we do have this Cleave text as well. So this says its Cleave cost is 4 white-black, so you've got an extra colour in there for a start, and you cast the spell for its Cleave cost. If you do, ignore the words with square brackets around them. So really, this is like a bit of a modal spell. You can either cast it for 1 black, and it says the original text, destroy all creatures with mana value 2 or less. And then the other version is for 4 white-black, you get just destroy all creatures. So this is a really powerful modal spell. I think it's really, really interesting the way it's been worded. You can have a very small white splash to play this, and then still able to cast it even if you don't get any white sources at all, so that's quite interesting, and it's a really good way of looking at different types of modal spell. A couple of things to bear in mind with this is when you cast it for its Cleave cost, you won't be changing its mana value. So it's always only a 3 mana value spell, even if you cast it for its Cleave cost. So cards like Disdainful Stroke won't be able to counter it, even if you're paying 6 mana for it. However, there are some newer cards like Dragon's Egg, Smoldering Egg, not Dragon's Egg, that's a different one altogether, but like Smoldering Egg, which care about how much mana you're spending into the cards. So in this case, it will matter what the amount of money you're spending is. So if you cast it for its Cleave cost, it'll count for 6. Not the best example, to be honest, because Smoldering Egg is going to die regardless, but you might get some edge cases and it demonstrates what I'm talking about. We've got some other cards here with Cleave. We've got Dread Fugue, we've got Dig Up, and we've got Alchemist's Gambit. So we've got 3 different cards here. We've got the Dread Fugue is in uncommon, and you can see that this one's the only one where the Cleave cost uses the exact same colours, only black in this case, as the original cost. The other 2 are both rares. So Dread Fugue is an uncommon, the other 2 are rares, and they have 2 colours in the Cleave cost and 1 colour in the original cost. So this is indicating to me we might get the cycle of these 2 colour cards. So far, we've only got the enemy colours. I think we might get all 10, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But it's cool that it's coming down in uncommon things as well, and we might get a cycle of single colour uncommons using this mechanic as well. So, I think that's quite good. I wouldn't even be surprised if I saw a common with this mechanic on as well. So, I think that's interesting. Might even have some pauper implications, because these modal cards are usually really powerful. One last thing, the mechanic, I love it as a mechanic, and I think that the playability of it is really, really interesting. I hate the name though. Cleave to me sounds like it should be some kind of attack and smashing mechanic where you can deal damage to a number of creatures at once, or some kind of trample type mechanic or something like that. Not like this kind of redacted text thing that's going on. I think the idea is really cool, but Cleave just doesn't tick any boxes. I also think that the implementation of it is slightly messy. I don't think it's doing it as neat as we used to Wizards doing these things. However, the gameplay should be good. I think these modal spells are always really interesting, and to be honest, they've been designing cards for nearly 30 years now, and they're still coming up with new ideas of new mechanics, and I've got to applaud them for that. It's not my favourite mechanic ever, but I think the gameplay will be really, really good with it. If you watched this far, thank you very much for watching. We'll be doing the normal kind of draft primer stuff coming up for the new limited set. Once we get the full spoiler out, we'll be doing the achievement list once the spoiler's out as well. So that's always a fun one. And thinking about the crazy things you can do in the set, those achievements that you can get. If you want to check any of that out, the YouTube stuff's appreciated. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for the notifications, and if you don't want to get notifications too much, even a like on the video and a comment down below telling us what you think about Cleave would be very, very good. Thanks again for watching. Hope to see you at the draft table very soon.